Hi, my name is Emma, and for my response, I chose to focus on a different topic than the one I chose for my initial debate post. After watching some of the other students' debates, I found the topic about the sweatshops quite intriguing. I am here to defend side B of the argument and discuss why the exportation of textiles and garments are generally negative for developing countries. A sweatshop is defined as a place of work where the employers disobey labor laws to employ child laborers. They ignore health and safety standards, overwork employees, and pay only the minimum wage. Within the agriculture sector, there's a large amount of child laborers. 58% of those are boys and 42% are girls. These children often begin working at the young age of 10. The harsh reality of sweatshops in undeveloped countries is that the majority of these workers are children. In many of these countries, the children must work in their poorer households because they constitute 50% of the family's income. However, this does not mean that big corporations in countries like the United States should have the right and freedom to take advantage of these children. The most rational approach would be to actively pursue change by advocating to raise the minimum wage, lower the number of hours these employees work, and improve the working conditions for these children. Although there may be some positive outcomes from sweatshops, like children being able to receive some kind of income, unfortunately the negative outcomes drastically outweigh the positive. Sweatshops are often crowded, filthy, rat-infested, and they are often located behind barbed wires, fences, and monitored by armed guards. The working conditions are absolutely repulsive, and the gross violation of safety and health laws leave workers defenseless and vulnerable. Not only do sweatshops negatively impact children's health, it also compromises their mental health and has serious psychological consequences. Children laborers work long hours and often do not have the opportunity to go to school, make friends, and play like children should. These children do not learn how to properly interact with people, which leads to developmental problems in the future. The vicious cycle begins when circumstances force children to work. Inevitably, this leads them to very little chance of ever being able to create a better life. When they start to work at young age, they generally receive little or no education, and as they grow up, they remain uneducated and tend to have children of their own at a very young age. With little to no education, these people are lucky to even keep their low-paying jobs that just tend to be miserable as well. Sweatshops do create jobs that otherwise would not exist. However, compromising children's health and education to help their families out of debt or to feed their siblings is too high a price to pay. Developed nations must begin to advocate more for these children and use the powers they have to create stricter regulations for corporations that are going into these countries to produce their goods. There is really no way of knowing whether these corporations are operating according to standards or not. It is difficult not to be cynical. However, it would seem that many of the officials who are in positions of trust have a price. When looking at the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Children, written in 1959, it states, "The child shall be protected against all forms of neglect, cruelty, and exploitation. He shall not be subject of traffic in any form. The child shall not be admitted to employment before an appropriate minimum age. He shall in no case be caused or permitted to engage in any occupation or employment which would prejudice his health or education, or interfere with his physical, mental, or moral development." We are forced to admit that sweatshop conditions are contradicting to these statements. We are able to prove that sweatshops are operating in an unethical fashion, and statistics prove that children are exposed to hazards and are also victims of diverse forms of abuse. These school-age kids, no different from us, deserve better. The way they are being treated goes against their fundamental rights, and we are sitting back and supporting this injustice. However, while the situation may seem desperate now, there is hope for a better future. Educating others around you and supporting fair trade companies are all steps that anyone can take to build a better future.